The drama musical uses a hidden three-act structure. So you see and this is the time of the show. You have this is intermission. Okay? It's about after 2/3 of the show. But I don't think that way. Intermission has not for me, it's not Act 1 and Act 2. Yes, I still write in my book Act 1, Act 2. But it's not what I mean. Okay? I divide this in 4 sections that are about of the same size. And I call that the first act. Second act. And this I call the third act. Now, this is a structure I obviously took from the movie structure. And in the movies, they call the first act the exposition, the second act the confrontation, and the third act the solution, which is actually very well working on stage as well. In the middle of Act 2, at that point, which is what I call a pinch, or the middle of the show. And now you see already, what happens here, at intermission. It is what they call in story structure the point of no return. And this is what Well, it is a point of no return not for the audience. Quite the contrary. It is the point of no return for the hero or the protagonist. Because, which is obvious, if he went all that way, it doesn't make sense to go back. It's as simple as that. But, of course, there's an inner need to come to the point of no return, which I will explain very soon. I think what is very important now, and which is specific for the musical theater, is that the pivotal songs have to signal the key scenes and the turning points. Now, the turning points are these, between the acts. These are the most important turning points. And a turning point is, and that is a definition of Sid Field's, the turning point is a moment where something happens that turns the action into a totally new direction. So, if something happens that turns the action into a new direction, you definitely need a song. And the turn should happen in that song. But there are other important moments in the structure, which I call key scenes. It has to do something with what happens in the act, what happens in the sequence within the act. And I always try to, for myself, I always try to describe what happens. And then I try to condense it into one scene. And then I try to condense it into a song. This is what I call a key song. Of course, I also use, like like Broadway authors do, I also use so-called establishing songs. But this is understood. I mean, this I don't even want to mention. But the key songs happen always more or less in the middle of these sequences, okay? And here, that would be the big establishing song. So, turning point song, key song, turning point song, key song, and establishing song. Okay. Now, number 3 is that the drama musical uses verbal and musical leitmotifs all through. I think the verbal leitmotifs are as important as the musical leitmotifs. And this is the leitmotif thing in the way I want to use them, and the way I want to my composers to use them is that is something I learned from Andrew Lloyd Webber, actually. He told me one very important sentence. He said, you never give away a great song before establishing it. When the song comes in its full length, it must be the fulfillment of what the character tries to achieve, or what the solution of his problems. But you use parts of that song to make the audience familiar with it, and also it's a beautiful picture. Of course, you write the song first, but then you dismember it in a way, yeah, and you build it from scratch, and you build it up, and in the end, everything comes together and fits together, of course, because it was written first as a whole thing. But that is a technique, which I find very helpful and which is very important.